Excellent. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about a core value of freedom and what freedom means to you, which is one of my core values. And I hope this sound is working. Most people don't have core values that they live in their life day to day, in their life and in their business, and in their business and in their life. These core values get intertwined, right? Same thing. You might have core values in family or core values in friendships, but most of the core values you have go into and in sync into your life business of who you are and what you're becoming. Important. And the core value I want to talk to you about today is freedom. And I have that on my thumbnail represented as an eagle, right? Because an eagle represents freedom in America, right? It's the bird that flies the highest in the sky, right? That encircles all other birds, and it flies in its own zone. So it has like its free zone because no other birds can fly as high as the eagle. I might be wrong about that, but I believe we chose that bird to represent, the word freedom for America, what America means to be in America, right? Because most of us don't believe we're free in America, but we're choosing to live in a lower energy state when in fact we need to live in that higher energy state. And I chose freedom because for me, freedom in my life and freedom in my business is being able to do YouTube videos, being able to do things when I want to do them, but also another equation of freedom is discipline, right? If I'm not disciplined, I can't be free. If I want freedom, I must be disciplined. It's huge. And another way of thinking of discipline as like a subgenre of freedom is the agreements that you make with yourself, the powerful agreements that you make day in and day out in your life business to yourself. And you do what you must be done every single day. And eventually that's going to lead you to freedom. I forgot there's a podcast that I listened to not too long ago. And this lady was talking about how, you shouldn't have a core value that you can't reach. And contrary to that belief, I believe you must have a core value that you aspire to reach, right? And I'm still young in my business. I have a small business with 3 employees, and then I do a lot of Upwork, Elan stuff where I'm always independently contracting people. But in my business, I allocate freedom. And the kind of clients that I want to work with are clients that have similar core values, that want to be free themselves. And freedom to me means, being disciplined in what you need to do day in and day out, no matter what, but also being free to do the things that you want to do when you want to do them. But again, it has to find you working, right? Discipline is like you're being a disciple of what being like disciplined is. It's like waking up at a certain time. And sometimes I work really late. I'm going to say I definitely work late sometimes, and then I'll sleep in. But whatever has to be done that day still has to get done no matter what. And I'll stay up till midnight. Been in my office till 2 a.m. before because I told a guest or a client that I have to get this done. I will get this done for them no matter what. But your core values are very important to who you are and what you stand for, right? It's very important. And if you guys don't have core values, go research what core values are, right? You could Google them, but they're literally, I filter the way I do business through my core values, right? If it's freedom, is this client or guest going to like consume my time, right? Or are they going to keep me in prison? No, we're going to have an agreed relationship where there's freedom allocated between us, where we're serving for the highest good of what we're working towards doing together. And I think discipline equals freedom, freedom equals discipline. And I believe this so strongly that it's like I put freedom into my day, right? Like freedom to me, I'm currently doing this program called 75 Hard, and freedom to me is working out. My health has to be in alignment with my mental acuity, right? Like I didn't sleep too well today, but I still do what must be done. And my freedom I find in being outside, hiking for 45 minutes or biking. I usually hike. I'm a big avid hiker, but I put little pieces of freedom in my day when I can because I like to connect with my higher self. And, if you look at the word free and dom means to dominate, right? Dom, right? Be free dom. And it's the freedom to dominate in your life and in your business with what you're doing, right? And I'm working towards that. I struggle just like every other small business owner out there as I'm still growing and I'm still learning and I'm still investing time, energy, and attention and getting better at mastering skills so I can truly serve my clients from where they are to what they actually want to become. And within that gap is where that freedom lies, right? Where you are and what you want to become. It's in that gap where like that's where the potential lies, where they want to become, and that's where that freedom lies, right? And it's doing the things that must be done on a day in and day out basis. And usually it's the hardest things that we must do, right? Whether that's doing outreach calls, right? Helping people, serving people, giving them a taste of their own freedom by saying, hey, I recognize that problem and I see it. Maybe you've experienced before, and always do it from a place of integrity, which is another core value that to me just falls right under freedom, right? Being integral with your word, doing what you said you would do, right? No matter what, no matter what condition you're in. Sometimes you got to rush out of the house because your word is your bond. Told someone you're going to be there on time, you got to be there, right? Because you're respecting, their time and their freedom in a way, right? So I want to sit with you and talk to you about that word freedom. It's a core value that I have arrived to live by, and I still arrive and I still strive, right? Because we're always looking to become better versions of ourselves than we were yesterday. We're looking to get 1 to 4% better. That can even be measured analytically. We're looking to get a little bit better than we were yesterday. What can I do a little bit more in my workouts? What can I do a little bit more to serve my clients, to help them be free? What can I do to my body to help it be freer later, to gain more strength, to gain a little more gas in the engine when I'm going for the hikes? What can I push and exert so I can get a little more, so I can get a little more discipline, so I get a little more freedom, so I get a little more discipline, a little more freedom? And I'm always thinking of those words. What do they mean to me? If I push harder, what freedom is this going to give me later, right? If I do this task day in and day out, what is the return it's going to give me later? If I do this for my guest or my client or wherever I'm working, if someone out there is still working a 9 to 5, what is that going to do to help the higher good? You're always going to look internally in yourself to say, you know what? I did my job. I did my job. I feel free because I did the best I could for that client. I did the best I could for that guest or that customer. I feel good about it. Whether or not they feel served, if you know you did the best job that you can, right? And maybe there's something you have to learn. You got to earn the learn from your job. And a lot of that is feedback. And a lot of feedback is given to you from like setbacks that you're having and failures. And failure to me is glorified, but to me, another word for failure is testing. I just tested that out. I didn't realize that worked. That didn't work so well. What could I do to make it just work a little bit better? Who's an expert in that field that I could learn a bit more so it could give me freedom later, so I could help my client vision their freedom, right? Because that's what we do when you're self-employed or you're a business owner. You're helping other people see their freedom, because sometimes they don't see their freedom. Sometimes they're stuck in place, sipping the same old stuff, and they're not getting out of their own way. And they're investing in you to help them kind of put that friction into whatever it is so they can get there as quick as possible or quicker. Some people have to learn from what they're doing over and over and over again. But again, as someone, as a trusted advisor, a consultant, a coach, I call myself a guide, an inspirational guide, or some kind of teacher, professor. Our job is to help them elicit freedom inside and break through the chains that are keeping them bound in place and what they're becoming. But again, it's like in a leadership position, you can't carry them on your back. You can say, hey, you know what I mean? Let's make an agreement. What would be the best agreement for you to find your freedom in that task so you can get ahead, so you can get better at what it is for you. But freedom, again, is being free to dominate. And I realize for me, to be free is to learn. Like I'm always learning. I'm always a constant learner. And now I'm applying. I used to not apply. I used to just learn something and then just kind of be like, okay, what's the next thing I can learn without actually applying. Now I'm just getting a little better in life. And now I'm learning to apply. I'm earning the learn, and then I'm applying it to my life and in my business and to my guests. And I call my clients guests. They're not my clients, they're my guests in my home. So I'm helping them, bridge the gap from where they are to where they want to go in their life and in their business, and bringing that together and figuring out, what's the friction? How can we alleviate the friction? And for you, what is a core value that you have arrived to live by? Maybe you're striving to live by, right? And freedom to me is something that I live by day in and day out. And I do things that free me so I can dominate my life. So hopefully you could find a core value where you can, see. And this lady, Lori Kennedy, gave me this exercise a long time ago where she told me and this was in Toronto, Canada, where we sat, I forgot, it was like a big workshop. And I believe we wrote down 20 core values, and then we whittled them down to 10. And then we whittled them down to 5. And I actually whittled them down to 3. And those 3 core values and then I added another one, but these kind of force multiply who I am and what I stand for. And one of those core values, and I'll just speak about the rest another time, was freedom. Like I want to be free to dominate. I want to be free to bring the people in my life that I care about, that I want to be around. I'm free to bring in the type of people that I want to work with, that aren't taking negative energy away from me, that aren't, just serving me problem after problem because they have a lack of belief in themselves and a lack of belief and freedom in themselves. So they create more friction. I don't work with those people well at all. I usually fire them or let them go. But what you want to do is you want to work with people that are in line and you make agreements with. And that starts with knowing what core values that you have adopted for yourself. And one of mine is freedom. One of mine is that eagle flying high in the sky, right? Dominating its space and just looking, being like aware, being conscious of its environment, being aware of what's next, or aware of what's around it. One thing about an eagle that I learned about not too long ago, when an eagle, I believe I saw this so long ago, it was on a video, but an eagle, when it reaches a certain age and its beak is crooked and its claws are mangled, it has a choice. The eagle has a choice to either die, right, or get better. The eagle has a choice to either die or get better. And the thing it has to do is it has to break its old ways. It has to break its old habits. So the eagle actually takes its claws and scratches them until it breaks the claws and forms new ones. It also takes its beak, and if its beak is crooked, it'll break it, and then it'll start to form a new one so it can eat again. It can get the energy, the substance, and it can get the time back. And the eagle will live another 20 years to actually 60 years old, and it'll live longer than where it was. So I hope that was of value to you. I hope you find some kind of semblance of like, maybe there's some old habits that I can break so I can create the bridge to my new ones. Because one thing I notice is when I work with people, I see the things that are keeping them stuck in place. Things people love to do, but they're not getting any traction in their life business. They're wondering why it's staying the same. So I invite you to figure out a core value for you that you could bring into your life and into your heart and into your core of who you are, and bring that out and filter every response. And eventually a responses, when they're good enough, become reactions. They're not just, from the mammalian brain and the reptilian hindbrain, but they're responses. When you make a proper response and you do it enough times, it will become kind of like a new reaction, right? Maybe you pause and figure things out and bring in more freedom into your life. So what is your core value that you have arrived to live by in your own life business that serves you profoundly? I'd love you to list a core value below, comment, and try to help each other out, man. I will answer everybody back because I love core values. I think core values drive the person. And then if you work into a business, your core values will eventually immerse into the culture, your way of being and way of living within that culture, and will circumnavigate until your higher potential of where you are and what you're capable of. Awesome. Take care of yourselves and have an amazing, amazing day, or an excellent day, or just a good day.